Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Nusa, and thank you all for coming out on this beautiful day in Heidelberg this afternoon in the South Asia Institute. It's getting hot. It reminds me of Islamabad, the Bandala Hills and the heat. So it feels like home. And I know I'm at home in the South Asia Institute. This is where we belong in South Asia. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to talk to you this afternoon about Pakistan. You mentioned about the security, regional security, the security dimension, which is very important. But I would like to start by talking about, in Pakistan, some of the important developments that are taking place, especially the domestic developments. And then move on to the regional environment, because that's impacting a lot on Pakistan, what's happening with respect to our neighbor to the west, Afghanistan. And then the economic situation and generally how we are looking at South Asia in our efforts to promote peace and stability in this very important region of the world. I'd like to start by saying that it's a real privilege to be here at the University of Heidelberg. And I know that this is the oldest university, and I always very proudly tell people around that I know the date of your university. So this is a very special honor for me to be here. And I also know that you have the great place of learning here in this university. Many distinguished academicians and scientists have walked the corridors of this great university. And for Pakistan to be associated with this university is always a very special relationship that we have with your university through our national poet and philosopher, Muhammad Iqbal, Allama Iqbal, who spent some of his years here in Heidelberg, and in his writings has spoken of his feelings for this university, for the city, and he really very much enjoyed working here, learning here, and living here. And so there are many connections between Pakistan and Heidelberg. We now have the Iqbal Chair at your university, in your institute. We have a permanent presence, and we are very proud of this link that has been re-established with the South Asia Institute, and we want to work and make it as beneficial as possible for all of us, for those who are interested in South Asia and want to work with this region in different ways. I'll start with the developments in Pakistan, because you mentioned about the media, Professor Nusa. The media, and we discussed this over lunch, and I'll just say that once again, has a very important role, particularly now the power of the global media. But it also comes with responsibility, and there's a tendency to focus always on the sensational news, what I call the news or breaking news syndrome. And therefore the whole story doesn't get reported. You only see part and not the whole. So I think it's important to look at all aspects, all facets of what's going on, so that you have a better understanding of what the transformation is taking place in Pakistan. And it's a very important transformation. I'll start with 2 years back, just over 2 years. In February 2008, we had the elections in Pakistan, very important elections. And as a result of these elections, we had a very important development in terms of our political and democratic transition that began in Pakistan after almost 8-9 years of rule. That was a kind of a quasi-democracy at that time. You must have heard about the lawyers' movement, which started in March 2007. I think never before, anywhere, has the demand and the movement for rule of law been as strong and persistent as we saw that in Pakistan. And the demand for an independent judiciary became the demand of the people, not only of the lawyer community, which started the movement, but of the public and the political parties. So we saw a very big transformation taking place, where people were agitating on the streets for the rule of law. And as you know, the rule of law is an essential ingredient for any democratic society. And today we have a strong and independent judiciary in the country. Similarly, we saw and we have seen the rise of civil society in Pakistan in the last few years. Strong movements to taking part, engaging in all debates around the country, whether on the electronic media or in the print media, or on the streets around the cities. And the rise of the civil society is yet another very important development in Pakistan. Along with that, we have seen a very vibrant media in Pakistan. I think perhaps it's one of the most vibrant media anywhere in the world today that we have in Pakistan. We have over 50 private channels and about 10 24-hour news channels, and they are discussing everything that is of interest to anybody. And these are very open, free, and often very, very frank and very critical discussions that go on. And so we have today a very strong and independent media in the country that we have never seen before. So you have a strong civil society, a strong independent judiciary, a strong media, and we've seen more recently now that the Parliament has become even more empowered than it was 2 years ago with the passage of the 18th Amendment in the Constitution. So here you have all the makings of a very strong democratic society that is taking shape in Pakistan today. This is a very important development, and I can tell you that this is a development that will be sustained, and I know you will feel that perhaps there have been ups and downs in our democratic system. There have been moments when we've had democracy, then we have authoritarian systems. But I can tell you that the changes that have taken place in Pakistan the last 2 years have made the system sustainable, very strong, and I can tell you that this is something that the public and people support, and it has the support of all the political parties in the country. And this is a very important development that has taken place in Pakistan. And so I can declare today that we are the 5th largest democracy in the world. And we are very proud of that. It's a very big transition. A bit on the economics, because politics by itself, you need economics to survive, you need business. And we have had 2 difficult years now, more recently, in our economy. The last decade, I should say the last 10 years before that, we had pretty high growth rates. We had rates ranging from 5 to 7% growth rates in the country. And as a result of this growth rate, the economy has grown considerably. But then we ran into a problem, and you may have read in the papers, you may have seen on television, what they call the power crisis that we are having at the moment in Pakistan, shortage of energy. And this is the serious problem that is affecting our economy today. And this is one of the challenges that we face on the economic front. The economy is now consolidating and stabilizing. We have been through an IMF program. You're familiar with IMF. I think you're reading the papers. There's some countries in Europe, your neighborhood, are also now looking to IMF. It's not easy, it's quite painful. But we've been through it, and as a result of that, we've taken some strong, stringent measures, and we feel we are healthier and stronger as a result of that. You may wish to tell your other partners it is good for them. But the economy now is picking up again. This year we're going to expect 3% growth rate, which is, as I said, almost half of what we had a few years back. But I think we've started now a trajectory which will take our growth rate higher. It's a big challenge for us. We have to get the economy going. And I think now with the political system strong and stable in the country, we'll have more room and more time to focus now on the economy of the country. Agriculture is a strong sector in Pakistan, but again we have to do a lot on agriculture to increase productivity. We also have to have a trained workforce because we have a large population, and that's another area that we will have to work and build up our strength. And also in the manufacturing sector, which was strong, but it has gone through a difficult time. And we'll be again in the process of expanding our manufacturing sector.